Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and I just got done watching the latest Chucky episode. It's episode 6, entitled Cape Queer. Even after seeing that title, I didn't expect them to reference Cape Fear as much as they did. Obviously, the spin is because a lot of our main characters are gay or lesbian, whatever the case may be. Before I get into the plot or the events that happen in this episode, let me just start off by saying I really, really enjoyed this episode so much. I can't believe that I was worried initially when I realized that Don Mancini was going to bring in the older characters from the older movies, not just Andy and Kyle, but I'm talking about more so Nica and Tiffany, and that plot line that happened after Cult of Chucky, because I've said it before, I'll say it again. Cult of Chucky is my least favorite of the franchise. I know it's weird because Seed of Chucky is so bad, but honestly, I think I'd rather watch Seed of Chucky more than Cult of Chucky. That's how much I didn't like that movie. So I got nervous on the idea of bringing these characters and continuing that plot into this series. Also because I was enjoying the standalone story of the show with Jake and everybody. But I think this episode melded and blended everything very well. I like seeing these numerous plot lines clash together. I can't wait to see where everything goes forward. The very beginning, the first scene actually, we see Andy and Kyle. It's so cool to see that these two characters, after everything that they've been through, seeing after the events of Child's Play 2 and how Andy and Kyle were foster children and Chucky in that film killed their foster parents and how close the two of them got. It's nice to see that after all these years they would still be this close, even after we already knew that Andy went to military school in the third movie. I can't believe Alex Vincent referenced the fact that he was in military school. That's something that, because it wasn't him, the actor, playing that role, I was just surprised that they even had him reference it, but that was nice. Also, them going to all of the various different houses where Chucky might have gone to, and like this girl in particular, who I think he said his name was Charles. I love that when the doll saw Andy, he immediately broke character, even in the arms of the daughter, in front of the parents. He didn't care because he knew what Andy was there to do. And I love that Andy didn't give a fuck. He shot this doll square in the head, right in front of the little girl. Did not care if she saw it. Did not care what the parents saw. Luckily, the parents did see Chucky move and interact and talk, so I guess they weren't as crazed or angry at Andy. Seeing Andy and Kyle shoot the hell up of this doll, kind of Pulp Fiction style. It's weird, it's bizarre, but it's what I wanted. I wanted to see that these characters had been going around and trying to locate all of the dolls that they could. And so far, they've gotten all but 2, if you include Nica. And I even like how they showed flashes of the old movie. I didn't need that, but you gotta believe that there are more casual fans, Chucky fans, or they're just watching this show without any franchise knowledge, that I think that paid off. Also, we see the teacher getting arrested, like in class. I thought that was a little messed up. I know that later on we saw that the evidence against the teacher, because at first I was really confused. I was dumbfounded. I was like, why is she getting arrested? What evidence could they have on this damn teacher? Especially because I like the teacher. I like that actress, and she's the only one who was being nice to Jake, and so I didn't like this at all. It made me dislike Devin's mother more so. And I also think that there was a better way to arrest her or to take her in for questioning. It's like they treated it like they knew without a shadow of doubt that she was the killer. And later on, the mother comes in and says, "Oh, yeah, we have your fingerprints, and you're the last person to have seen the principal." Which, how do you know that? And also, you were next in line for her job. Like, all of that was just ridiculous. Like, this is the evidence that you have to arrest her in classroom. This teacher has a lawsuit on her hands. But by the end of the episode, I guess it does not matter now, does it? There was a line when it was said that this teacher has a juvenile record, and because of her past, maybe she doesn't want to get out or something along those lines. And that was the first time that I stopped and said, "Holy shit, is this teacher Glenda, the female personality of Chucky's son from Seed of Chucky?" I know that might be a stretch. I know that sounds crazy, but it was then when I heard that, and then I started to look at this teacher, and then I looked at her hair, and I thought, "Oh man, she could be Glenda." That would be some trippy ass shit, especially if it's the case. It might very well not be, but if it is the case, the moment when she saw Jake with that doll and she was willing to hold the doll in her office, like that had so many more layers to it of what she would have thought about all of that. But again, it's speculation. It could very well not be true. We get a flashback scene of a young Charles and young Tiffany. They get the car, the red car, and they kill the guy right there, broad daylight in the middle of the street. Holy hell, is this town, they just don't give a fuck? Or maybe they're just that crazy to where they didn't care that they were that much in the open. So I didn't realize until after my review for last week's episode that the actor that is playing young Charles in these flashbacks, at least last week and now this week, is Fiona Dourif. Brad Dourif's real life daughter, the same actress who's playing Nica. She's also playing in like makeup and whatnot. And this was the first time we got to see her face or his face. You know, she has some makeup and prosthetics to make her jaw look more masculine. But holy hell, does she look so much like a young Brad Dourif. It's eerie. It's freaky. And I love it. I do. I love her playing this. And now knowing that Brad Dourif doing the voiceover for her obviously makes a lot more sense. And it's worth it to have her do that. That was great. And we see that the mother tells her husband, Devon Sawa, and ends up telling Junior about her cancer. Now, this surprised me because just last week in therapy, she said that she didn't want to tell them. She didn't want to burden them. But I guess she changed her mind because she's telling them here. It was actually a pretty emotional scene. A little messed up that nobody told Jake. Jake had to like overhear it from the corner. Poor guy. He's not really a part of the family now, is he? But again, it was a nice moment, a sweet moment, especially that moment later on where Jake is talking to her before her therapy, and we now realize it was the last conversation that they had. But I'm gonna miss that actress. I am. I really like her. Obviously, she gets killed after her therapy by Chucky. Everybody thinks it's a suicide because she was knocked out of the building's window and she landed. I knew she was going to land on the car that her son was in, and he sees her dead face through the windshield looking at him. Brutal. Brutal. It reminds me of a character who actually did commit suicide and jump out of a window onto the windshield of a car in Carrie 2, The Rage. Anybody see that? No? I don't blame you. But that one scene in that movie did disturb me, and this reminded me a lot of that. And Not just that, I guess I'm getting ahead of myself because Junior before this, he went to go see Lexi and breaks up with her, which is like, wow. I wasn't expecting that. I know that Lexi hasn't been talking to him, communicating with him, and hasn't been spending much time with him. But he went over there to tell her about his mother, and she seemed sympathetic. She seemed like she was there. Okay, fine. She got distracted once or twice during the conversation, but she has a lot going on. She did try to tell him and he didn't believe her. So it sucks. It does. I guess I get where he's coming from, but at the same time, to see the growth, to see how Lexi is practically a different person by now. Even Junior breaking up with her, I feel like the old Lexi would be like, all right, whatever, dude. Be gone. Good riddance. I don't give a fuck. But this Lexi actually cared. This Lexi actually felt bad, and it made me feel bad for her. It's such a 180 on Lexi for sure. And then we see that Nica wakes up from her possession, and I really am enjoying Fiona Dourif's performance playing Chucky possessing her because she does very well with changing her voice and making her voice sound kind of like his effect but still be her voice and her facial expressions and looking crazy, and then having to snap back into this innocent person who's helpless. And like I just think she's doing a great job, very believable, and otherwise a probably kind of goofy situation. And I, speaking of good actress, I didn't even realize that she was pretending to be Charles, that she was trying to fool Tiffany into thinking that she was still Chucky. Tiffany, probably the smartest I've ever seen Tiffany come off, the fact that she was able to put it together, the fact that she realized that that wasn't Charles, that that was Nica, and even the whole her stabbing her in the leg was quite amusing. And the moment where Tiffany tells Nica that, oh, hey, I have noticed other times when you've come out of being Chucky and it's really you, Nica, and the way you look at me, I sense real love there. And of course, Nika's like, what? Maybe it's more of like pity or more like, fuck, get me the fuck out of here. But I do like that Tiffany is finding herself to be more in love with Nica because Chucky does treat her like crap. Tiffany and Chucky have had so many problems and arguments and disagreements throughout all of the movies. We don't even know if the teacher isn't Glenn or Glenda. We don't even know 100% what happened to the kids. So Tiffany has many reasons to be mad at Chucky still, and so this made sense to me. And Tiffany's also crazy enough to think that hey, they can actually be together. Tiffany, who they acknowledge is possessing the body of Jennifer Tilly, the actress. This is the first time that we see her in public. She buys this house that she wants her and Nica to live in. The lady recognizes her as Jennifer Tilly, doesn't even want her autograph when Jennifer Tilly asks for it. But that was cool. That was interesting. Again, maybe a little weird that like if Nika's going in and out of being possessed, well, why isn't Tiffany and Jennifer Tilly? Like, why isn't Jennifer Tilly waking up from her possession either? I don't know. Maybe she's not fighting it as hard as Nica is. Maybe there's something to that. Maybe there isn't. Maybe we'll never address it. And like I said, Chucky kills Junior's mother. Everyone thinks it's a suicide. Devon Sawa's beside himself. Junior is pissed at Jake. When Jake tries to talk to Junior, Junior says, fuck you, Jake. I mean, basically. So he's angry about that. And then we get a scene of Devon watching Cape Fear. And that was cool because I've only seen Cape Fear once, and it was just like 2 years ago. First time I watched Cape Fear, which I know is crazy, but great movie. And seeing Devon watch those scenes of Cape Fear, especially seeing Robert De Niro, and then them reenacting the booby trap scene from Cape Fear, how setting the house up to be prepared for Chucky. That was great, and it even made me want to stop and watch Cape Fear right here, right now. So that was all awesome. Also, Devin and Jake, Devin comes out to his mother, which sort of surprised me. Like, oh, wow, we're doing this. Okay. And the mother has no negative reaction. She reacts as if it's like normal. And that's great because it should be normal. You know, a kid coming out as gay to his parents, it shouldn't always have to be a big deal. Yes, maybe I'm not saying would it be more realistic for her to have more of a reaction or more of a, but maybe she always knew. You know, she did see signs. She did see. I think she saw Jake and Devin holding hands at one point. So maybe she just wasn't surprised. Maybe she was just glad to be able to talk to him about it. And then, like I said, they booby trap the house. Jake and Devin have a conversation about favorite horror movies and favorite horror characters, and they both agree Laurie Strode. I love this because this is why I love Scream so much. A big reason why I love Scream and why Scream is my favorite horror movie is because the characters in that movie talk about real horror movies, real life horror movies, and relate to them. Same way that I talk about movies with my friends, and not a lot of movies do that. So just this one scene alone of, well, with Devin watching Cape Fear and then them talking about Laurie Strode and how great of an actress Jamie Lee Curtis is, I would totally be all more for that. And Lexi, obviously Chucky comes into the house, and when Chucky gets Lexi alone in the room, I was scared for Lexi. This is how you know Lexi has done a complete 180. I cared about her well-being. This is kind of the scariest Chucky has been. The way how he turned the lights off, the way how he was running around without being caught, and the laughing in the background. Like, this was creepy. And once again, I was scared for her. Chucky, though, says to her, "Hey, how about you kill Jake? He's trying to turn them against each other." Now, I don't really know why Chucky thought that would work by this point, because Chucky's already tried to kill Lexi himself. And so why would you think that she's all of a sudden going to join you? I don't know. Maybe he thought she's a dumb teenager. Maybe I can use her a little bit. Jake was almost there and almost easily convinced to kill Lexi. So maybe he just wanted to turn them against each other. Maybe he realized that them two, them three united is harder for him to kill than one by one. But it's also interesting that he didn't try to kill Lexi. And I think that there might be something to that. And even when Jake comes into the room, Chucky didn't try to kill Jake himself either. He just ran by him and cut his leg. But Jake hesitating. Jake had the bat. He was creeping up on Chucky. Why did he take so goddamn long before he tried to swing at him? One. And two, when Chucky actually turns around, he just sits there and lets Chucky run by him. Like, what is everybody doing? How did they all of a sudden become so incompetent? Even Devin, when he shocks Chucky and Chucky goes flying back, and then his device stops working, so he's trying to fix it, but it's like, no. Run up to Chucky, grab him by the arms, and tie him up, and you've won! It's over! It felt like these three, it was the dumbest, more so Jake and Devin. This was the dumbest I think I've seen them act. I don't know, that was just weird. Maybe it's just me. And then you see Devin's mother show up, and Chucky jumps on her back, and so she sees that Chucky's alive and real, and that's when I knew, alright, she's dead. The mother's gonna die now. Of course, she falls down the stairs, and she didn't just, break her neck twisted all the way around to her back. That was rough. That was gross. That was intense. And we now have had 3 deaths in one episode. I know that every episode has 1 death in present day and another death in flashback. So I had been saying that every episode was guaranteed 1 death. I wasn't always counting the flashbacks, even though I should have. It was still cool deaths. But present day deaths was something that I was fixating on the most. This has 2 major present day deaths and a flashback death. So wow, we got spoiled a little bit with this. There's only 2 episodes left. I'm kind of finding myself dreading seeing the show end. You know, like I'm gonna miss it. I'm having a good time watching the show. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below what did you think of Chucky episode 6, Cape Queer. Did you like it as well? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.